Hi, welcome to Joey's Hi-Fi Shop. This is a record day, record recommendations, and usually I do genres, but today, when I was going through all the female vocalists last week, I ran across some Weezer, and I was thinking about them, and I realized I have quite a bit of their catalog, and they're a band that I was not into when their first album came out. I didn't get into them until college. I was, I guess, let's see when this one came out. This came out in, of course, I go to look and I don't see, 1994. There we go. And so I was 14. I had a lot of friends that were into them. I knew nothing about them. And so it wasn't until like 6 years later, after they were really popular, and I heard their Pinkerton album, that I got really kind of excited about them. This came out in, does it say? Let me see here. I'm always like trying to figure out when albums come out. I'm assuming this came out around 97 or something around that time. But these were like their first two really seminal albums. They sound totally different from each other. This one is more thrashy. This one is more Weezer. For those that don't know, Weezer is this band that has this sound to them that was just unique at the time. They're Weezer. that's their sound. If I were to kind of describe some bands that kind of floated around them, Green Day may be one. They don't have any ska sound, but they kind of remind me of like a ska attitude. And then just also like the Beatles and a lot of 60s and 70s rock, but with literally their own, in my opinion, their own sound. A lot of sound that may have been influenced by all these other bands, but definitely created their own sound. And so this album is a banger. It's just Weezer's Blue album. That's what it's known as, self-titled. This is a mobile fidelity recording, and it's just supposed to be like higher quality, and it is. It sounds good. I've had their original too, and the original sounds great. I like special pressings. They're fun. Not all of them sound better than the original, but this one definitely sounds good. I've really enjoyed it. As you can see, like it says original master recordings here, and you can't see these. I can maybe bring it up to take up the whole frame. But it's just showing you all the other releases that they have, that they've done masters of. And since then, they've done a ton. And they've also had some controversy over how they've done it, but if you get super nerdy about it, it's not that bad. So Blue album, highly recommend. Favorite songs on there, Only in Dreams is probably my favorite song. And then Say It Ain't So is my second favorite. Undone Sweater. Actually, Undone Sweater and Say It Ain't So are tied for second. So, but the whole album, totally good. Pinkerton, again, it's just like this really thrashy album. It's a lot more raw. It has the lyrics and everything is just crazy. There's a song called Pink Triangle about this guy who's dating this woman who is also dating or like seeing another woman. And so, yeah, it's El Scorcho, The Good Life, Why Bother, Tired of Sex. I mean, just really some hard-hitting songs. And again, all of these are on major streaming platforms. So you'll be able to check those out. The most poppy album that I think they came out during this era was the Green album. This is probably the most polished, upright album that they have. I thought it was all right. I mean, I like it. I think, Hash Pipe hits pretty hard. But Island in the Sun is a bit much for me. But that said, like people that are 10 years younger than me, like this was like the Blue album for them. And so they can listen to this all the way through. They love it. And so maybe you will too. I know my good friend Jonathan Guajardo, it's like, this is like his banger album. And funny enough, it's the Green album. And if you that he loves that. And if you look in our YouTube channel or on Facebook, We have a video with him in his green Riga turntable. He actually has a green P3 like this, so that's kind of fitting. Mala Droid, I believe how you say it, and this came out in 2002. This album's amazing. It takes kind of Pinkerton and Weezer and the Blue Album sound and like melds it together. And there's a song called Dope Nose I really like. But just again, I can listen to this whole album. It's highly recommended. I love this one. And again, like, you know, Weezer really like messes with pop and rock and their sound, and they're very playful about it. And I think Weezer Make Believe is definitely one of those, again, like a Green album where, I mean, they just come out with some hits that are great. You know, Beverly Hills is, you know, a great song that they came out with off this album. It was like their big hit, their single. We Are All on Drugs is actually my favorite on this album. And it's just a fun album. You could, again, like most of their albums, you can just listen all the way through. Some of their later stuff, not as much for me personally, but again, like, just depends on how you are in terms of albums. And are you a single, you know, are you song based? Are you album based? A lot of Weezer, I feel like, has some good, fully thought out albums. This red one here is one of those. Troublemaker's a great song. Pork and Beans, just it's great. This is a great album. I bought this album just to have it, and it sat for a long time. And then one day I was like, I need to listen to this. And I just couldn't stop listening to it. My son knows this album pretty well now at this point. It's really great. This Teal album is interesting because it is a cover album. So they sing Africa by Toto, Everybody Wants to Rule the World, Sweet Dreams, Take on Me, Happy Together, Paranoid, Mr. Blue Sky, No Scrubs, Billie Jean, and Stand By Me. And they're all really fun interpretations. Is it cheese? Yes. Is it good cheese? Yes. I highly recommend this album. It's just fun. Like, you know how I said, like, they kind of come out with these poppy albums? This is a pop album that's just fun. I mean, you can just listen to it. It's okay. Put it on streaming. Check it out. This album, funny enough, Weezer, OK Human, I haven't listened to. I mean, I may have listened to it when I got it, but I don't remember listening to it. And it came out, I believe, in 2020. And so I need to go and listen to this. This is what happens when you get a lot of albums. And so, 2020. So I need to go and listen to this. And that's how, like, forthright I am about my recommendation to it. I need to go and listen to this. And now, Van Weezer, I did listen to. Really fun album. But admittedly, I've listened to it about twice, and I need to go back because the other albums I've listened to 5 to 10 times over, minimally. And these two I got because I just was intrigued by them. People were giving them good reviews. But around 2020, actually funny enough, which is when that one came out, I just started getting a lot more vinyl. I trimmed down my whole collection, and I just started buying a bunch of new vinyl. And these were two albums that came through that purchasing stint. And it hasn't stopped. I have some down here. We'll talk about those in a second. But I need to go back and I need to listen to these because these I can't give as nuanced recommendations. And that happens, you know. I intentionally like kept these to talk about because I think that's part of record collecting, for me at least, is that sometimes I can't keep up with all the albums that have come out. Like, this is not their whole discography by any means. They have a bunch of other albums. They're still coming out with albums. They're busy, and they've been busy. And so I've really enjoyed the records I have. There are others that I still need to explore, and this is just one band. But I listen to them regularly, monthly. They come through the playlists. in my car, and then on the albums. I probably listen like in the past year, I've probably listened to the red album, the teal album, and the blue album the most out of all of them. And I've played Pinkerton once or twice, but the rest I haven't played as much. But that's, that's how it is when you collect. You listen to some, and some you just have. So I've got some records down here. This happened because, I'm going to put these really softly on here. This happened from last week's discussion. No one recommended I get these. I started thinking about records that I wanted to get based off of what we were talking about that week. Okay. Remove that. Let's see. Yeah, okay, this will just open up. I'm not sure what record this is, but okay. So we were talking about No Doubt, and it got me thinking about ska. So I wanted to go and find some of the seminal pop ska bands that I really like and haven't been as exposed to. And Operation Ivy, Energy, this album here, is one of those bands. It's really fun. They're not necessarily the most seminal band. They're not necessarily representative of all ska, but I've really enjoyed listening to this streaming, and I wanted to get it on vinyl and just explore it more, because I've mostly just listened to their cuts of songs, not all of their songs. So this one I'm really excited about, and I'll do a review on some ska albums as I get a couple more. I have some that I'm missing that I want to kind of fill in the gap with. Let's see what this is. These other ones I think are the same artist, if I remember correctly. So this album is No Doubt, the singles. So this is 92 to 2003, before Gwen Stefani went solo. And I wanted this because I thought it would just be a great album to have. Like if I'm at the pop-ups, I can bring this, and it covers a big slew of their performances, or their albums, their studio albums, in a very concise way. Looks a little dirty. I don't know what happened to it. It's weird because it's covered, but it just kind of looks funny. It's all good. I'll show you all what I mean. It just has this kind of weird smear on both sides, like from a processing issue or something. Maybe like cardboard or something. Anyways, it seems like there's a booklet in here, so I'm going to pull this out. Yeah. Let me get back over here. What is this? Oh, yeah. So they have an introduction, and they have photos for each song and kind of break it down. They have the lyrics and a little bit of information about each one. I didn't expect to get this insert, and this is really nice. Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, this one I'm excited to have. I announced a pop-up in Bryan, Texas at Tavo Coffee for September 7th, and I'll definitely bring this album out. I think it'll be fun to play, and people can get an idea of No Doubt. This one, I believe, is a No Doubt album or a Gwen Stefani album. But we'll see. I can't remember. Oh yeah, I think it's, yes. So this is an album that I sold. Not this album, but an album that I sold in desperation at the time. I was when I was around 2020, when I was selling a bunch of my records off. I foolishly sold this and thought I would never be able to get it again because it was an original print, and they hadn't reprinted this yet. So I guess over the past year or two, they did some reprints, because this was only, I think, about $30, $40. And this is Love Angel Music Baby, Gwen Stefani. It's a really, really good album. If you've never heard it, it's also has a bunch of controversy because of the way it's mixed. Everything is loud. It's that era of music where the vocals are just as loud as the drums, which are just as loud as the guitar, and everything's just kind of jammed in there. And so I've always found that era really interesting. But I can't deny that I don't, I mean, I really like Gwen Stefani's music and her sounds and her aesthetic. And I feel like she's like this pop influential character, persona, personality, musician that really kind of pushed a lot of the pop boundary early on in terms of this post like Madonna and on female vocalist that I was talking about in the last video. So yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I went over Weezer, and then I opened up some albums, and I've got a lot more of these videos to come. And if y'all have any comments, y'all have any records I need to check out, let me know. If you have comments about Weezer albums that I really should be listening to that I haven't either had in there that I didn't talk about enough, or that ones that I should get, let me know. Thank you all so much for watching, and y'all have a good day.